Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. Cardano is still that same pattern is still at play that we talked about in the previous video. There are different ways how you can draw this. After the strong increase here to the upside, you can call this a broadening ascending wedge, which would be rather a bearish pattern. You can even draw it as here some kind of an ascending wedge, which also would be a rather bearish pattern. So in two ways you can draw it. There might be another way of drawing this as an ascending triangle, but I've got potentially a few problems with that, given that we've got here that lower high. But anyway, I think you can find more ways than not to draw it in kind of a wedge pattern, which would be a more bearish pattern. Okay, and so far, whatever way you draw it, this is still at play. So told you earlier in the video today that we are at a risk here of turning around as soon as you drop below that support. Now we haven't done that yet, but if we lose this pattern, I think we can drop quite quickly, first of all, to that $1.11 level. Here, those previous supports here, and especially the first target would anyway be around that 110 level, $1.10, because typically the target level after a breakout of the wedge would be the beginning of the wedge. So that would be the first thing where we are looking at. Showed you in the previous video as well that we are seeing here potentially a head and shoulders pattern, which would also be a bearish reversal pattern. And this would, to be honest, not be much of a surprise, given that we have really here moved quite a lot to the upside in the last few weeks, and Cardano is holding really well compared to most of the previous moves up or pumps here in this whole downtrend that we did. There were a lot of fake outs, but this time, compared to all the other ones, which looked a bit like blow off tops, Cardano is holding really well. And I think we have a really good chance that Cardano is really starting from here, but I think there will be another dip, and there could be another dip in terms of, let's say, after a short-term dip, that we build this larger reversal pattern. I showed you that in the previous videos, this inverse head and shoulders that we could be forming here. I mean, maybe you can even call that already an inverse head and shoulders, but ideally I'd like to see a retest of the, maybe even the $1 level. But as I said, at the moment we still have an uptrend here at play, but it is slowing down. We've got here two bearish reversal patterns here in the short term, an ascending broadening wedge and a head and shoulders pattern. And on top of that, we see here on the daily that negative momentum or the positive momentum is decreasing on the daily. So if you see that happen again in the bearish crossover, now the last time that happened, we had a dip. The time before that, you had a dip, and usually that coincides together with a dip. On top of that, we have a little bit of Bitcoin weakness at the moment, and therefore I would expect as at least, I can't tell you if we're going to hold that trend line, but what I can tell you is that the candles here to the downside are quite large. And we have an increase in negative volume, or in selling pressure and selling volume. So overall, it's getting here very interesting, and you can just see it by looking at the chart that after that strong move up, we were just overheated. I mean, if I take a look again at the daily chart, you can see that, the momentum on the MACD is decreasing, but you can see that the RSI was just overbought, and we are still very high. And I think it needs a bit of a retracement. It needs a bit of a correction down in order to gain more strength and more power for another move up. I think generally that we can expect Cardano to move up in the next few months, especially because of the whole thing around the Vasil hard fork in June. So usually what we've seen is previously the hard forks that happened in the past, they usually led to a price increase a couple of months before it actually happened. So you started a couple of months before that with a price increase, 1.5 to 2 months before, and then you saw a huge pump, and then you saw the price again lowering down after that hard fork. So it's a bit of buying the rumors, selling the news. That's what often happens in the crypto space, not only in the crypto space. But this is to the upside. We've got this very important level, the 126 level. This is so important. It is the previous high here, and it's also a Fibonacci retracement level. So we need to get above that. Currently struggling. You can see here on the daily very strong or long wicks to the upside, which indicate that really the price has real difficulties to break above it at the moment. We are going to do it, but I think there might be a dip before that. Of course, I can't guarantee that, but therefore you've got the ascending trend line here, And if you lose that ascending trend line, I think the next support, as I said, will be $1.11 and then $1.10. And if you lose that, I think you're going to go down sorry, to the $1 level. Now, very interesting, the ADA BTC chart, and that is a reason why ADA did hold quite well today compared to Bitcoin when Bitcoin started to dip. We had it on the chart here, on the ADA BTC chart, this bullish pennant, and we saw the breakout here, and this is when ADA did start to outperform Bitcoin. Now we are coming down again fairly strongly, but what we might be doing here at the moment, and it's too early to say that, but what we might be doing here at the moment is just a retest. So we came to the first previous high, rejection point. We're coming down now, and this is now a major decision point. If Cardano can hold that, or if ADA on the ADA BTC chart can hold that and turns around, I think this can give ADA a boost. It will start to outperform Bitcoin big time, in my opinion. However, there is a risk that this retest is not successful, and then it's of course going to go down and will probably drop below that ascending trend line on the ADA USD chart. But this is a huge opportunity for ADA. It can find support here, and if it breaks above that, or if it holds that level and will then move above the previous rejection point here at around 2,730, then we are gonna have a nice upside here, possibly all the way up to the 200-day moving average on the ADA BTC chart. So it will be very, very interesting what's gonna happen in the next 24 hours with Cardano. At the moment, good chances, I think, but we are also coming down quite strongly, so only the market will decide if this retest is successful at the moment. And again, we can go to the lower time frame. It's just hard to say, isn't it? Because we don't yet see a green candle, but as soon as you see a green candle emerging here with volume confirmation, I think then we can be more positive that the price is going to go up, but it needs to move also above that previous rejection point here, and then there is huge upside possible compared to BTC. All right, that is my view here on Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.